If you hear music in the background, just bear with me because it's a Saturday night and my neighbors are outside playing music, so can't really do anything about it, but I need to get my video out. So moral of the story is I just need quieter neighbors. Probably should move. So it's June 1st, which means it is LGBT Pride Month. So happy Pride, everyone. So what better way to open up this month by reviewing a movie called Rocketman, which is about the life of one of the world's most famous openly gay men, Elton John. So Rocketman is a film directed by David Fletcher, who actually took over for Bohemian Rhapsody when Bryan Singer was removed. And I actually wanted to see that movie. I just didn't get around to seeing it. Anyway, this biopic stars Taron Egerton as Elton John and Jamie Bell as his best friend and longtime co-writing partner, Bernie Turpin, Bryce Dallas Howard as Sheila Eileen, his mother, and Richard Madden as John Reed, his longtime manager and former lover. And this movie tells the story of basically how Reginald Kenneth Dwight became Elton Hercules John, one of the biggest selling recording artists in history. And the thing that caught me off guard regarding this movie, because I didn't know going into it, was that unlike most movies about musical artists where it's just a movie with music in it, this movie was just a straight up musical. And of course, I have no problems with musicals because A, I have my degree in theater performance, and also, in case you didn't know, I'm gay, so of course I have no problems with musicals. It's just something that caught me off guard when they just busted out into song and dance out of nowhere, and I was like, wait, what? What's going on? Growing up, I always knew who Elton John was, but if you were to ask me to name Elton John songs, like I can name on one hand the songs of his that I knew, and I probably wouldn't even be able to use all fingers. That's how much, or that's how little I knew of Elton John. Like, for the most part, I remember the first time I ever heard of Elton John was because of Can You Feel the Love Tonight from Lion King. And I always thought of Elton John as basically the white Stevie Wonder. So of course with this movie I was definitely interested in learning more about his life, but I can definitely say after this movie I can definitely name more than 5 songs of his now, so I guess that's a win. Overall, I thought this was a really well-made movie. Like, if Taron Egerton does not get an Oscar nomination for this movie, I don't know what the Academy is thinking. And more than likely he will get an Academy Award nomination for this movie, because if there's one thing that the Academy loves, it's famous actors portraying other famous people. But yeah, for the most part, I only knew Taron Egerton from the Kingsman movies, but he was great in this movie. And going back to the musical aspect of this movie, like, being that it was an Elton John movie, you heard a lot of Elton John songs, but it wasn't just Taron Egerton doing an Elton John voiceover. This was actually him recreating all of Elton John's music and singing it himself. And I always knew that Taron Egerton had a good voice because I heard him sing in the movie Sing. But hearing him perform these Elton John songs, like, I was just like, yeah, he really is a good singer. And I know for him personally, it probably felt great to be able to use another skill set that he doesn't really get to use that often in his singing voice. Like, judging this movie from a purely movie making standpoint, like I said, this movie was absolutely stellar. However, for me personally, I feel like this movie just didn't go far enough. Like, it was pretty surface level. Like, this movie is rated R, but to me it felt very PG-13. Like, sure, there were a lot of F-bombs and one sex scene, but it felt like because Bohemian Rhapsody made so much money and it was only PG-13, it felt like this movie was trying to skirt the line between being PG-13 and being rated R. Like, it didn't fully embrace its rated R rating. Also, I read online that this movie is the first major Hollywood production with an on-screen gay sex scene. And I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, I say, one, bravo for being the first. It's about time. But also at the same time, I'm like, if you're gonna be the first, then you should have gone further with it. Because there's a line in this movie where Elton John says that he's addicted to sex. Yet you don't see any of that in this movie. And that's not to say I want to watch a movie full of nothing but gay sex scenes. I can go to Pornhub and watch porn for that. But it just goes back to my point of the movie feeling very surface level. And I understand that this movie is only 2 hours, so there's only but so much you can tell when it's going through decades of a person's life. However, with the stuff that it did tell, I feel like, again, it was very surface level. And yes, with biopics, they all take liberties. They either include something in the movie movie that wasn't actually in that person's life, or they'll change events around and mix up the timeline, and that's all fine and dandy because, A, it's a movie and not a documentary. And again, I gotta say, like, I don't say that to say that this is a bad movie. Far from it. I think it's kind of like if you go to the store wanting a strawberry banana smoothie, but they don't have it, and so you get a mango smoothie instead. And yeah, a mango smoothie is pretty damn good, but you really wanted strawberry banana. I think that's kind of how I felt about this movie. Because yes, I get it, like, this movie opens with Elton John. He's the narrator of his own life story. And so with that, it makes sense because of who Elton John is and because of how extravagant and boisterous that his performances are. It makes sense that you get this musical fantasy element with the movie. But like I said, I just wanted it to go deeper. But even as I mentioned before, like, Elton John is one of the most famous openly gay men on the planet. And even that didn't play that much of a factor in this movie. Like I mentioned earlier, they said he was addicted to sex. They didn't show that. He's been married to his current husband for almost the past 30 plus years. They don't even go into that, like how they met, them getting married. They don't touch on any of that. You don't even really learn about how he was as a teenager. Like, the movie starts with him being a child, and then it basically skips to him being an adult. How was he as a teenager? Was he socially awkward? Was he bullied in school? Like, what was that like? How old was he, and when did he even discover that he was gay? I feel like for this movie, I have to give 2 ratings for it. But before I do rate it, please check out the description box below to get an understanding of my rating system. But I gotta say, from an objective standpoint, Rocketman is definitely a major hit, maybe even a minor blockbuster. But from an emotional standpoint, for how it hit me, I gotta say Rocketman broke even. But one thing I can definitely take away from this movie, I'm gonna start listening to way more Elton John songs from now on. Hey Alexa, play Tiny Dancer.
Here's Tiny Dancer by Elton John on Amazon Music.
Of course, I'm not gonna actually have it play on here because then I'm gonna get flagged for copyright. But yeah, you get the point. So Rocketman, did you see it? What did you think about it? Were you an Elton John fan before this, or now are you more of an Elton John fan because of this movie? Let me know down in the comment section below. Also, if you can, please hit that thumbs up button and give this video a like. It'll really help out the channel. And while you're at it, please check out the other videos on my channel. And if you like what you see, please subscribe for more. Tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And as always, I'll catch you guys next time. Happy Pride!